No, it was not me.
No,
By the way, very nice of you to wear the Riker beard today.
You know, like, as I sculpted each morning, I think, what would Jonathan do? And then I make it a little darker.
Very nice! Nice one, Centurion!
we're gonna get on good.
Oh, it's a good house, Mina.
That's what I said. These are the people with very long memories.
I've got a story I need to tell you.
All right, here we go.
It involves my second favorite actress in the world. I'm sitting next to her, Marina Sirtis. I was sitting on the set. Imagine if you would. It's a spaceship.
Not unlike the Enterprise.
Not unlike the Enterprise. Seth MacFarlane's sitting next to me. I said, Seth, did you see those actresses that auditioned for the blank part? I said, yeah. I said I chose who I thought was the best actress, and he said, yeah, she was pretty good, but I think we'd like to do something special. Somebody, what do you think? Somebody from your show? I said, well, what about Marina? And MacFarlane's face lit up, a little light bulb went off on top of his head. You think she'll do it? So let me find out. Texting. Before I was done texting, are you available, Marina? I'm in town till the 8th, and I go to Greece. That's my accent. Right?
Don't do it again. All right.
I don't like talking about killing your dog. They don't like that whole tone, that whole part of it. But anyway, I'm proud to announce on the latest episode of The Orville that I was privileged to direct Marina Sirtis. I'm not allowed to talk about Discovery, but Seth gave us permission to make this announcement. Right. So, in addition to my anxiety, which I think is what you call a great get on a show, do you know who else is on the episode?
So I'm in a good episode. I'm in a really good episode.
Any of you remember the villain from Insurrection, the Academy Award-winning
F. Murray Abraham? Oh my goodness! This is amazing! You guys are really pulling out all the stops on me.
And listen to the lineup of admirals, some of whom have been on before. Also from Star Trek, sure. Ron Canada.
Amazing.
Ron's not here. How about this old Klingon favorite playing a Mocklin? Tony Todd.
Tony!
That's good. And who else? One of the finest comic actors ever. Ooh, who could it be? Ted Danson.
No!
Hey!
That might
Even you're surprised!
Wow. Thank you for casting me in that episode.
Well, I gotta say, you seem to get the best response.
Yes, I did. Thank you. I love you all. Thank you. It's because they're scared of me. They know that if they don't cheer and holler and love me, I will come down and meet them.
Yes!
Say mean things about them.
Are you still doing that?
No.
No.
I'm over the wobbly throwing Marina. Marina doesn't throw wobblies anymore.
Are you still talking about yourself in the third person?
Like Trump. If our president...
We're gonna stay off the front.
No, I'm just saying if our president can do it, then why can't I do it? Right?
A good reason not to.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's a bit, what is it, a bit, what's the word? The menopause has fried my brain, people. Please pay attention. No, honestly, please pay attention when I'm talking, because if I go off on a tangent, I will never remember what I was talking about in the first place. So you have to pay attention, because at some point I will say, what was I talking about? And so you have to tell me.
So we just rein you back in.
Right, yeah,
Okay.
you just have to say, you were talking about so and so, thank you. But that's the menopause, and all you young women can sit there mocking me. But you just wait. You just wait 20, 30 years, whatever it is, I'll be dead and gone, and you'll be like, oh, Marina, God rest her, she was right.
She warned us of the storm a-coming.
It's become my mission in life to talk about the menopause because I did human biology, right? The word never came up, ever. We talked about menstruation, girls' bits, boys' bits, reproduction, all of the above. Menopause never came up. And every woman on the planet goes through the menopause.
Yes. You're like the convention's counselor.
I am. I'm counselling you right now. And men, when your women are going through the menopause, you have to take a mental pause.
How many times have you used that line?
Many.
I feel like you should see Menopause the musical. It's down on South Las Vegas Boulevard.
See, I should be in it, starring in it.
Speaking of starring and things, I want to ask you a little bit about, I don't know how much we can say about the Orville without it airing, but how was it getting back in front of Jonathan's gaze when he's behind the camera?
You know what? I said this earlier, he's heard this before today, but I'm going to say it again.
And I'm really happy to hear it again.
Because there's more people here. I've been in the business, I've been an actress for 42 years. And I've done many, many hours of TV and a few films. My favourite director of all time. And I'm not saying that because he sat next to me. My favourite director of all time. Absolutely.
I want to dive into that a little bit and ask you, like, is it how he can communicate with actors? Is it just the freedom he gives you? Like, what is it about Jonathan that makes him such a good director?
You know what? He's a force of nature, and he gets it. And I said, you know, there are two types of directors. There are the directors who like do, you know, whizzy things with the camera and shots and all that. And then there are the directors who are good with actors.
Yeah.
And they usually fall into two separate groups. This one is both. This one is both. No, he really is. Because look, the studio's happy with him. They keep hiring him. So he's obviously... The studio, to be honest, don't care about the acting. They would love to make movies without real actors, right? They would love it all to be CGI, because actors are difficult.
There's some directors who feel that way.
Yeah, I know, and they would love us all to be gone, and for us to be just, you know, drawings in a computer. But they're stuck with us, and we're difficult, and we ask questions, God forbid. So anyway, but he gets it. The studio loves him, the actors love him, the crew would walk on glass for him.
That's very important on a set.
So it's a happy set. The work gets done. There's no tension. There's no angst. You know you're going to get the work done. You're producing a good product. You've got a great guy at the helm. It's perfect.
Oh, wow. Now,
perfect.
Thank you, Exotic.
Let me ask you, Marina, if you could, Jonathan, jump in here. But I'm curious about, I talked to him enough.
Oh, all right.
No, I'm curious about, could you compare Jonathan directing The Offspring, the first episode of TNG that he did, where Data makes a daughter, lol, to the current Jonathan? How has it changed, his directing?
He was a little nervous, I think, when he started. A little nervous.
A little overprepared.
A little overprepared. He's the confidence now, because you know that you know what you're doing.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but
I tend to know what I'm doing.
well, it comes.
I act as if I know what I'm doing.
Exactly.
I always have a plan.
Yes, you always have a plan. You know, there's nothing worse than a director who says, "That was great. Let's do another one." Or, you know, "That was perfect. Let's do one more take."
That's my least favorite thing.
I hate that. You know when they say that to me?
Let's go again.
Yeah, I say, if it was perfect, print it twice.
There you go.
Do you know what? That's why they hate me. So, except him, he loves me. But, you know, because I do...
people hate you. I think this is...
No, I know, they used to, but not anymore. Yeah, it's all right. I did have a bit of a bitchy, you know, kind of thing going.
Well, let's dive into that. Who's on the phone?
You
Can we take it?
No caller ID.
No, don't take it. It's probably Patrick. To hide his number, so you'll pick up. Now, Jonathan, there was advice. I'm just going to ask about your directing style right now because that's sort of the subject we're on. If you could talk to 1990 you as you're sitting down for the first time on TNG to direct, what would be the advice you would give yourself?
You know how much I love you, right?
Not enough.
That's my least favorite question.
Shall I answer it for you?
Go
Do you
ahead.
want to go back into I got
I'm
one
going to
time
answer,
travel.
I'm going to answer it for you because I know this was one of his go-tos. If in doubt, cut to Marina's face.
Yeah. That's in the editing.
That's in the editing
I
room.
always gave you a close-up because if we got in trouble, especially in the conference room, you were always listening actively. Acting is
Listening
and reacting.
and reacting.
And not bumping into the furniture.
And not bumping into the furniture.
And living in the moment.
And living in the moment.
Making sure that your bald spots are covered.
Yeah. Because Hollywood's all about the hair, folks. It's all about, we have created the hole in the ozone layer with all the hairspray that he's used. Especially on TNG.
You're talking about sitting around the conference room while you guys are making the show.
It's called observation.
Observation. Remember the time when we had to pick up a shot with an admiral named Admiral Singh, and Admiral Singh had been released, so we safety pinned Admiral Singh's toupee to the back of the conference room. And we shot over the guy's wig to Patrick as if he was actually in the chair. True story.
True story. Do you know what? We were bloody good. I tell you what.
We were good.
We were good because we pulled it off.
Do you remember the time when, visualize if you will, the bridge. Jordy LeVar, David Brent,
You got the reverse.
the beautiful and
Yeah.
talented Marina, Old Baldy in the middle,
Sir Old
Old
Baldy.
Baldy,
Sir Old Baldy.
while Phil Riker,
Yeah.
and then that big horseshoe, right?
Right.
And at the back of the horseshoe, big old dumb stupid Worf. Now, for 4, 5, 6 seasons, all of us talked to like this. We talked to each other here, Marina and Picard and Riker would talk, or Laura and Brent would talk. Did anybody ever talk or look at Doran? Never, not once. Nobody ever looked back to hear what that big turtle head would say. One day, he was so fed up with the way he'd been treated. He comes on the stage with a raw egg in his hand. Goes back up to his position, back of the horseshoe, looks over Sir Old Patrick's chair and squashes the egg on his head. And the albumin and the yolk drip down his British visage. Fact or fiction?
I know, it's very good.
Boy. It's okay, Jason. Of course.
I love
We've
it.
after trekked many times together. He's They're giving you a mic for your private moment.
I couldn't, right?
Well, so then when I was 4,
No, don't go. Let me just say something nice about
I
your
had
brother.
to see you.
Okay, get out of here.
He doesn't like it when you say nice things about him in front of him.
Jason Isaacs, ladies.
Jason Isaacs!
Captain Orca,
Do you know what?
how fabulous an actor is he?
Oh my God. Oh my.
You remember him in The Patriot? He was the villain in The Patriot.
I hated him in that movie. And what about in Brotherhood? The accent.
Have you seen him in that thing where he plays the friend of Khrushchev?
The Stalin
Stalin
movie.
show. He's spectacular.
He's always spectacular.
Also, now that I can...
Apart from being a Liverpool fan, he's almost perfect.
When I blew it last year, it revealed that there was a alternative... What did I...
We'll call it a mirror universe.
Mirror universe.
Now that you watch the season, how many of you watched Star Trek Discovery? When you watch it again, as you will see how brilliantly Jason peppered in.
Yeah.
It was spectacular, and he thought about it as we went through the season, and it was done tastefully, and it was done elegantly, and it was done subtly. He's a masterful actor.
It is. He's one of the best. He really is. Yeah. I want to work with him. I want to work with him.
He's quite good.
Yeah.
And he loves the craft.
Yeah. And We were mates before he got Star Trek, so...
Mates.
Well, you know, friends. Not mates means friends in England. God, I can hear all the rumours starting everywhere. Marina said she and Jason Isaacs made it.
That whole company is astounding.
They are. I had to. Now I'm going to do another old chestnut here.
Oh, you got a good one?
Well, you've heard it already.
What a surprise.
Yeah. So when I went to visit Jonathan on the set of Discovery, because I was in Toronto shooting something that I can't talk about, I had to sign an NDA.
Non-disclosure agreement.
Non-disclosure. They all know what it is.
You can get treated like you're at home.
They watch the news. They know what an NDA is. Stormy Daniels will save America. I've had to sign so many NDAs. I actually feel like one of Trump's mistresses right now.
I like the reaction. Oh, it's true. There's so many.
Yeah.
Now, the old chestnut.
Yeah, but I didn't get paid $130,000.
I knew there was another inning.
Yeah.
Now, of those, what were your favorite days on the set of T? Like when you would see on the credit sheet that there was just bridge.
Bridge and observation when we were all
Anytime when they
together.
threw us all together, it was such a headache for the director. Because we had a director
Did 2 shows in the first season.
and then he ran off the soundstage.
Refused to come back.
We were impossible. We were like herding cats.
Children.
The work was so serious, and because Patrick set this bar of preparation,
Yeah.
everybody
He
came
tried.
They knew their lines, and it was, you know how serious a show was.
Sure.
So when we were between takes, we were just nuts. We were just
Mad as a box of frogs.
exactly.
So you drove a grown adult with a career out of Paramount.
Listen, I drove the director of Nemesis off the set the first day I worked.
I wish you could.
He threw his He threw his hat on the floor and walked off the set.
Oh, well, he went back to editing. It's fine.
I wish he. Well, no.
We all saw it, Marina. We
All
know.
right. Not saying another word. Okay.
It launched Tom Hardy's career.
It did.
Yes, Tom Hardy now
Is a superstar.
He's just a character actor getting paid like a superstar.
Oh yeah.
Love him.
And he didn't fix his teeth.
That's important too.
You know why? Because you Americans are obsessed with perfect teeth. Obsessed.
Let's look at yours.
Well, I've never had anything done. I never wore braces. My teeth are fine.
That's the Greek teeth.
That's the Greek
You don't have
teeth.
English teeth. Am I right? That's fair to say. Your Greek heritage gives you your. I remember this is a.
Please, go ahead.
I remember saying to Marina, "I'm going to shoot you from this side." She said, "I hate my profile."
I hate my profile.
I said, "Marina, your profile is beautiful. Look at it. Look at it, Matt. Can you see it?
Gorgeous.
I've got a Roman nose. It's Roman all over my
Oh,
face.
Betazoid.
Did anyone see Mamma Mia? Yeah? Okay, I just have to ask.
Have you gone to see it already?
Of course I saw it the first weekend it opened. Excuse me, if you're shooting something that's supposed to be a Greek island, shouldn't you shoot it on a Greek island? Got 120 to choose from, for God's sakes. He went and shot it in damn Croatia. I knew from the first shot it wasn't Greece. Croatia, I said. Wrong coloration.
Croatia, I said.
Wrong architecture, wrong vegetation.
So young and so bitter.
Bitter.
That's
Because we need the money in Greece right now. We're broke.
That's
right?
how Neil Armstrong used to watch Star Trek. They're not in space.
Okay, Matt.
Yes, sorry.
Don't be funnier than me.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to tell you, I told you this guy was okay.
Because I have to. No, you know, right?
Yeah.
You know that I don't ever have a moderator.
I'm so sorry.
No, stop with this. So he said, no, trust me, you're going to like him. Because usually we have a moderator back there, and I go, what are you doing here? And then like, we come to moderate, it's true, we come to moderate the panel. Oh no, we don't need a moderator. Go to have a cup of tea. Go, off you go.
When I saw this...
You know what, I'm glad you talked me into it.
Thank you so much, Marina. It's a delight to be here. And when I saw the panel, I was like, oh, they don't need me out there. It's these two. And yet, here I am.
But it's a different take on the panel.
Yes.
It's something different for the fans. It's
Yeah.
not our usual shtick.
Yeah.
It's good. They've seen us a million times.
I have...
Okay, I have to...
Oh, wait, you have to have it. Go ahead.
No, shut up. Who has never seen us before? Like, 3 people. Yeah,
So it's never new.
exactly.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions you'd like to ask?
I have so many questions for you guys regarding the entire run of the series and the movies. Honestly, I have more questions than they probably want me to ask. But I'd like to start with your character, Marina, the character of Troy. As I'm going through this, I do a podcast about TNG. It's called Star Trek: The Next Conversation, available wherever podcasts are downloaded. Plug. No, Jonathan comes on once in a while for Ask Frakes. Great segment. I call him on the phone. He answers questions that Heath can answer, but we've never had anyone because here's my question for you. Your character, it seems like it took them a long time to figure out how to use your character. And there are scenes where you're just like, this is not fair to...
Decorative is the word spoken for, just decorative. And when you said they didn't know how to use my character, what sprang to mind was, no shit, Sherlock.
They just didn't know what to do with it.
Which is why I got written out as so many episodes in the first season.
Well, it's a problem, right? To have
because-
someone on
yeah,
the bridge who could be an empath.
Yeah, because they go, oh, well, blimey, they didn't say blimey. They would go, oh, well, if she can sense what's going on, we have no story. Get right around the episode. And so that was why I was written. And I have to be honest, Matt, I had a very insecure first season. Because they were always writing me out of episodes, and I went from being the favourite, because when I was cast, I knew I was their favourite. Jim loved me. It was obvious that he loved me. And then it got to the point where I'd be on the set, they walk in towards craft service or whatever, and if a producer saw me coming, they would literally turn around and walk away. So I knew that my job was on the line. You didn't need to be a nuclear physicist to figure it out. I knew that I was on the bubble, like we say in Hollywood. On the bubble?
Yeah.
I don't think you were ever on the bubble.
I was. Major told me for a fact. She's years later. I confronted her because we were very close. As you
Tell
know.
you to drop the accent?
No,
I feel great pain for both of them.
no. She didn't tell me, but I was doing the Betazoid accent,
Yeah.
and then she showed up, and she was obviously from the American sector on Betazoid.
Well, in fairness, I just always assumed that your father...
Yeah, and then we met Dad, and he was from bloody Oklahoma or somewhere, so the accent made no sense at all. Anyway, see, what was I talking about? Go on.
We're talking about the use of the character.
Oh, the use of the character.
Development of...
Yeah. So basically, and I finally told Denise this, because I said to Majel, years later, Majel, I was going to get fired, wasn't I? And she said, yes, you were. Jean came home one day and said, we have one too many women. What? Yeah, one too many women. You need a doctor.
God, if I had a nickel.
You need a doctor. You need a security chief. You really don't need a psychologist.
Yeah.
And it was when Denise...
Nothing could be further from the truth.
Right. But Denise had no clue, but when Denise left the show, she saved my job.
Wow.
Yeah.
I always just assumed it wasn't...
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
That solved the problem for them. They would have 2 women on the show, and...
What happened to the backstory of Riker and Troy?
Yeah.
And were lovers and had served together before and were in a relationship.
Yeah.
That was part of the pilot.
Yeah.
And then magically...
It disappeared.
It disappeared.
You know why?
No.
Because you had to be Kirk. You had to be banging all the alien...
I wasn't.
No, you were. They romantic lead, you see. And Patrick, and let's be honest, we love him, but he's too old. So...
I'll tell you a little story about how Patrick appeals to women. I was cast as Commander William T. Riker on Star Trek The Next Generation. I'm from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. We lived in half of a twin. I went home to visit my parents, Doris and Jim Frakes. And I went out, the refrigerator was on the back porch, which wouldn't happen. So I go in the back porch to get a beer out of the refrigerator. On the refrigerator of the house that I grew up in is a poster. This big. Whose face?
Alwaldy.
Patrick Stewart! To make it worse, I remember where the poster was from. It was from one of those Star Trek magazines, and it was actually a two-shot. The other shot was me. I was rolling in the curve of our refrigerator door! In my own house! Hey, Mom! True story.
Oh my God, okay. See, my mum used to carry a picture of me around in her wallet, because in the section where you put your license, so you can see, so that every time she paid for something, it'd be like, why do you have a picture of Deanna Troy in your wallet? Because that's my daughter. Right.
She was proud.
This is the person who the year before I came to America and got Star Trek said to me, you know, this acting thing really hasn't worked out. There's an opening in the Bank of Cyprus on the high street. You're bilingual, why don't you go and apply and get a proper job? Yeah. And then she goes from that to, you know, yeah.
She was very proud.
She was proud.
As well she should.
By the end, yeah.
You should, I mean, for me it always felt like it was never your fault. You're doing everything they write for you perfectly.
Listen, like I always said,
like, there's no story.
I'm just an actress, you know? It's like, when Patrick's, you know, I used to have those wonderful lines that were obvious to anyone with any eyes in their head watching the program. Captain, he's hiding something.
No videotape.
Right.
Doctor, hey guys,
Yeah.
no videotape.
And I think the last time I said that, Patrick goes, we know that, you stupid cow. You waste of space, like that. And he went and he looked at me and he went and hid behind Brent.
It would have been amazing if in the show you say that to him and he just turns and says, you know, suspend transmission while he's talking to a Romulan, then turns to you and goes, you think so? He's not? Are you sure? Hang on. And he goes back to Like, it's a hard role to even, like, have to find stories for, but the way they finally were able to use you, it was to your credit, I think, that they worked hard to figure that out.
Well, you know, I mean, let's get real, and this sounds a bit vain, but I got popular.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Well, thank you. But, you know, suddenly people were dressing up as me at conventions. And, you know, when they came out with the...
And still are.
Yeah? When they came out with the action figures, they didn't make any Troy action figures at first.
No.
There were no Troy action figures in the first...
This is the saddest thing I've ever heard.
Because I was going to be gone. They weren't going to need them.
Oh my God, Marina.
Yeah, it's a whole thing that happened that first season. I was just like, don't say anything, maybe it'll go away, you know.
Yeah. Did you, both of you, at what point in the series run were you just like, oh, I'm on this freight train and it's...
Well, I have to be honest, in the third season of the show, so third season, I waited until we were 3 years in before I applied for my green card. Because I knew that they would have to re-advertise my job.
Oh my God.
Because they have to prove that there's no one else in the country that can do your job. So I was not secure enough until like the end of the third season to even apply for my green card, because I knew they've got to audition people, they've got to do it, that's the law.
Yeah.
And but the way they worded it, the ad in the trays was, you know, Greek-British actress, 5'3", dark curly hair, you know, hazel eyes, British accent, you know, I mean, it was so specific.
Yeah.
But they still had to audition like 3 or 4 people.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
I never heard this story either.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
It's fun doing panels with you.
Yeah. I'm not useless information, me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Now, Jonathan, what about you? Was it when you saw Patrick Stewart on your parents' fridge that you knew it was a runaway train?
No, it was around season 3 when it was pretty clear that we had a...
Yeah.
I didn't understand the concept. I know this is anathema to you. I didn't know that Star Trek was the cultural phenomenon that it is. So before I auditioned my 7 times over 6 weeks to play the part, had
You too, Marina? Oh my God.
rented videotapes and watched the show. My wife, Jeannie Francis, Laura, coming back to Port Charles.
One more time, Jeannie Francis.
She was a big Kirk fan. She knew all about the show. So I was watching to get some sense of what the show was really about.
Yeah.
And then I got it, and then we were doing it, and then it seemed like a good time to tell my first convention story.
Please.
An old chestnut, where there were about, an audience of 1,000 people in Syracuse, New York. It's freezing cold, and the show had barely aired, and they were very, very resistant to the idea of an English captain and a new crew, very loyal to the Kirk and Bones and Spock world. Reticent, hostile, whatever. I was a nervous wreck. I didn't know what was expected of me, and I'm standing, waiting to go on stage in the dealer's room where they were selling, obviously not Troy, but they were selling the action figures, the younger, thinner version of all of us. The limited die-lot data for $40, and they had Geordi for $45, and they had Captain Picard for $50, and there's a sign at the end of the table. Buy any action figure, get Riker free. True story. You've all heard it before, right? And you courteously had a nice, patronizing laugh.
No.
It's a great story.
It's not. You know what it is? This is
It's like a familiar song.
It is. It's like going to see, because you've all heard the stories a million times, so we're always amazed that you show up. We are. But you've heard the stories a million times, and I said this to someone, and someone said to me, it's like going to see your favourite musical, Marina, and hearing your favourite songs.
Yeah.
Well, then I should tell them about
Yeah, you should tell them all.
who we watch grow up on the show.
We watch grow up. He's a grown man with
He's
a beard.
46 or 47 years old.
Is she strong?
He finally got his driver's license.
On the show,
He bought the same car Patrick had, which is a Honda Accord. Honda Accord. We're walking back to the car park, or to the garage, as we call it. And he's now my height. So he looks at me like this, and we just got wrapped, we're going back to our cars. And he says, Frakes, I can tell by the music that comes out of your dressing room and the way that you dress. You used to be cool, didn't you?
That is perfect, Will.
But the funniest thing was that Patrick and Will bought their cars at the same time. Must have been over the same weekend. And they both bought a Honda Accord. And when Patrick saw that the child had the same car,
Went out and bought a Jag.
went out and bought a Jag.
Now, we do have a super note to ask. We have audience questions. I believe the microphone is to my right. Hello, how are you? There we go. We have light. We have an audience on the left as well. I'm left-handed, so I'm going to start on the right. Weird, right? Yes, let me start with you. How are you?
This setup in question is for both of you. Imagine if you will. The Rikers have 2 toddler twins, one a female and one a male, and they've just learned how to walk, and now they're running around. So which Riker maneuver would you teach each one of them? And what kind of constructive criticism would his anxiety give him? And as a bonus question, what is the Thomas Riker maneuver?
Oh, did Thomas Riker have a maneuver?
No, but didn't you famously say one time that you thought Thomas Riker was cuter than Bill Riker?
Yeah. A little bit.
A little bit.
But I didn't lean quite as much.
We do have a pitch we'll share with you.
Yeah.
The Rikers in space. Half hour, single camera. Right up your alley, by the way.
I'll write it.
They're wacky Uncle David, the little dog Worf. of toddlers. The kids carry the show. We work 3 or 4 days a week.
Yeah, perfect.
Right?
Yeah,
I love it.
It's not a bad
It's a
idea.
home run. I'm not even, I'm going to put in your Alaska.
Listen, watch this. I don't agree with not spanking children. I know, because people go, you can't hit children. You know what?
You know what Marina says?
You can't negotiate with a 2-year-old.
Tell them what you say to children when you're working with them.
I do, and this is what I say, because I've done Snow White in the last 4 or 5 years. I've done the Wicked Queen in Snow White. I know you feel that's a stretch. I played the Wicked Queen in Snow White twice, and our dwarves are children, which we put dwarf heads on, you know. So this is the first day of rehearsal. We walk in, we're introduced, you know, the producers and the directors do their bit of spiel or introduction, and then I say, okay, listen up, kids. I just want you all to know, before we start, I do not have a problem hitting other people's children. It takes a bit.
Spanking.
Yeah, hitting, spanking, whatever. And half the mothers are like horrified, and the other half are like, oh, thank you so much.
Well, I think that is the Riker maneuver that she will be using on the children. On the left side here, sir, what's your question?
Hi, my question's slightly more for Jonathan, but I'd love to hear both of you chime in. So whenever the topic of romance or sex came up on the show, this weird thing happened where the camera would always cut to Commander Riker, and he had this big, goofy grin on his face. So I was wondering, what was like the genesis of that? How did that become a thing?
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that.
No, wait a minute. It's the same loopy grin that all men get when the topic of sex comes up. Girls, you say sex to a guy, and they're, am I gonna get lucky tonight?
You see that look again?
It's like,
There you go.
You know what you remind me of, though, with that nice Rikerian beard? It's another famous song from the album. After the first season, where I was clean shaven, and the writer's strike happened, we were all called back, and in a meeting, I showed up with a full beard because I hated to shave, and Roddenberry said he had famously long hands. And I looked at my Roddenberry person and said, Jonathan, I love the beard. It's nautical.
it's not.
We'll keep the beard for the character. Are you all right? I said, yeah, that'd be great. So after this meeting, he and Rick Berman and the king of makeup, Michael Westmore, take me to the makeup trailer, and they're all armed with black eyeliners. And they draw on my face the shape they think the nautical beard should be, and then they start to trim hair off. And Gene says, oh, it'll be decorative. So eventually, they shaped this beard into what they thought the nautical decorative beard should be, and put it on film. They decided they don't like it, so they're gluing hair back onto my face. And as a capper, in the Urban Dictionary, what is the definition? Oh, we're done.
Well, you finish your sentence.
What is the definition of
The opposite of jumping the shark
is Riker's beard?
growing the beard.